Pelican Bay State Prison opens in late 1989 on the far northern edge of California, built as the state's most ambitious attempt to impose total control over its most disruptive inmates. The facility sits near the Oregon border, isolated by dense forest, cold weather, and distance from major population centers. Its location is intentional. Isolation is not a byproduct. It is a design feature. The prison is presented as a solution to escalating violence, overcrowding, and gang power inside older institutions. At the center of that solution is the Security Housing Unit, known as the SHU, a complex designed for long-term, near-total isolation. If stories like this matter to you, consider subscribing, because what happens next reveals how this system truly works. From the beginning, the opening does not unfold as planned. The facility is activated before its systems are fully tested. Policies exist on paper but are not yet refined by practice. Hundreds of staff are hired in a short period, many with limited experience in high-security segregation environments. Officers arrive from different institutions with different habits and expectations. Standardization is incomplete. Training focuses on procedure, not psychological endurance. Inmates arrive quickly and in large numbers. Transfers come from across the California Department of Corrections. Many are labeled as the most dangerous individuals in the system. Some are validated gang members. Others are identified as chronic rule violators. The classification process is rushed. Files are incomplete. Intelligence records do not always match reality on the ground. The assumption is that extreme isolation will neutralize risk regardless of individual differences. That assumption proves flawed almost immediately. The SHU is not designed for gradual population buildup. It fills fast. Inmates with different backgrounds, affiliations, and histories are placed into identical conditions. Separation protocols exist, but early enforcement is inconsistent. Gang rivalries are not always identified before housing decisions are made. Some inmates arrive with outdated information attached to their files. Others arrive with no reliable threat assessments at all. The physical environment intensifies stress. Cells are concrete boxes with solid doors. Natural light is minimal. Sound echoes through corridors. Mechanical doors open and close on fixed schedules. Human interaction is reduced to brief exchanges during escort or meal delivery. For inmates accustomed to movement, contact, and informal communication, the shift is severe. Psychological strain surfaces quickly. Incidents follow. Some involve assaults during escort. Others occur during medical appointments or recreation periods. Officers report sudden attacks without warning. Improvised weapons appear, fashioned from issued items or fixtures. Bodily fluids are used as weapons. These behaviors are not new to corrections, but the frequency and intensity surprise staff. Early response protocols struggle to keep up. Radio communication is inconsistent. Emergency response times vary by unit. The prison's size and design demand coordinated movement, but coordination is still developing. Some officers hesitate. Others overreact. Use of force incidents increase. Internal reports accumulate. Supervisors attempt to impose uniformity under pressure. Staff experience significant strain. Working in the SHU requires constant vigilance. Officers operate in an environment where every movement carries risk. Shifts are long. Breaks are limited. The psychological weight of isolation affects staff as well as inmates. Some officers report sleep disruption, irritability, and burnout within months. Turnover increases. Vacancies are filled quickly, often with less experienced personnel. The administration relies heavily on intelligence gathering to regain control. Confidential informants become a central tool. In theory, informants provide early warning of planned assaults and gang activity. In practice, the system is uneven. Some informants exaggerate threats to gain privileges or influence housing decisions. Others provide outdated or misleading information. Verification processes are limited during the early period. Informant exposure becomes a serious problem. Protection protocols are not fully developed. In some cases, inmates suspected of cooperating are identified by peers through changes in treatment or housing. Retaliation follows. Violence escalates rather than declines. The intelligence system, intended to stabilize the facility, becomes another source of conflict. Gang dynamics adapt quickly to isolation. Traditional communication methods are restricted, but organization does not disappear. Messages move through timing, gestures, and coded language. Alliances shift. Leadership structures adjust. Staff initially underestimate how well-established prison groups function under constraint. Early models assume isolation dismantles coordination. Reality shows it only alters its form. Administrative communication also breaks down. Information does not always flow smoothly between custody staff, supervisors, and administrators. Decisions made at the top do not always translate clearly to line staff. Policies change rapidly in response to incidents. Officers receive updates that are sometimes incomplete or contradictory. Consistency suffers. Lockdowns become a frequent response. Entire housing units are confined following incidents. Movement is restricted. Programs are suspended. Recreation is reduced or eliminated. Medical and legal access slows. These measures are intended as temporary controls, but they recur often enough to become routine. The SHU environment grows more restrictive over time. Outside oversight is minimal during the opening year. Pelican Bay's remote location limits media attention. Public tours are rare. Most information remains internal. Legal challenges begin to surface, but they move slowly. Internally, the focus is on restoring order. Evaluation of underlying causes receives less attention than immediate containment. By mid-1990, administrators recognized that the original vision of precise, technologically driven control has not materialized. Instead, stability depends on layered restrictions and expanded intelligence operations. Gang validation procedures are formalized. Criteria are broadened. Long-term SHU placement becomes easier to justify and harder to reverse. Policy changes accelerate. Movement protocols tighten. Escort procedures multiply. Use of force guidelines are clarified in ways that allow greater discretion. Documentation increases. The prison begins to resemble a permanent lockdown facility rather than an experimental control unit. The emphasis shifts from rehabilitation or behavior modification to risk management. Staff culture adapts accordingly. Officers learn to operate under constant threat. Informal norms develop around caution and distance. Interaction with inmates becomes more transactional. Trust erodes on both sides. The environment reinforces itself. Isolation breeds tension. Tension justifies further isolation. The first year also shapes how Pelican Bay is perceived within the broader corrections system. Other institutions watch closely. Early reports emphasize the facility's ability to contain individuals who were previously difficult to manage. Less attention is paid to the instability that preceded that containment. Success is measured by reduced transfers, not by internal conditions. As the year closes, Pelican Bay has not collapsed, but it has changed fundamentally. The promise of a clean, controlled start is gone. What remains is a hardened institution built in response to early disorder. Systems are now in place, but they are reactive rather than deliberate. Control exists, but it is enforced through severity rather than precision. The SHU's reputation grows over time, but its foundation is rarely discussed. The early chaos is not an anomaly. It is the context in which lasting policies are forged. Decisions made under pressure become permanent structures. Temporary measures become defining features. Pelican Bay's opening year demonstrates a central lesson of American corrections. Extreme control does not eliminate volatility. It concentrates it. When systems are untested and assumptions go unchallenged, disorder fills the gap. Stability, when it arrives, is shaped by those first failures. This is how Pelican Bay becomes what it is known for today. Not through flawless design, but through adaptation to early breakdown. Control is not engineered in advance. It is constructed after mistakes, reinforced by fear, and maintained by isolation. If you think this story was intense, the next one will leave you speechless. Subscribe for more true crime stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat.